all. Happy Saturday. Stephen here. You know the story, boy. Go round the other way, as they say in the Navy. Hey, that was a bit of impromptu humour, and probably didn't go down too well with any Navy veterans. But there you go. I am smoking, for the first time in a while on camera, my Dansk Club. It's a Stanwell mass-produced line. Very nice. Bit of rustication, smooth grain there. 9mm filter. And in it, I am trying to smoke some Gawith Hogarth Dark Bird's Eye. I'm really not having much luck with this tobacco. It's going to make me sneeze now. It's not so much the tobacco, it's the cut. It's a fine shag cut, which I'm not used to. Really, really fine, very, very long strands. And I haven't got the hang of packing it. It's difficult to pack because the strands go on forever, so you keep filling and filling and filling, and then it's a bit difficult to know whether you got it too tight or too loose. It's burning like a demon. It's really going down very, very quickly, which suggests I've probably got it too loose. But you know, I'll get the hang of it eventually. Cheers. Good health. I'll have to do with the story behind Abbott Ale at some point. It's got something to do with Bury St Edmunds, which is in Suffolk, I believe, in the UK. But I better do a bit of research before I make a fool of myself. What I'm listening to is, after Tom Waits, my second favourite artist of all time. This is one of my favourite songs.
Well, I dreamed I saw the knights in armor coming, saying something about a queen.
It's Neil Young, After the Gold Rush.
There were peasants singing,
And this track is After the Gold Rush. Love it.
archers with the tree. There was a fanfare.
Like Tom Waits, he hasn't got a voice that everyone can take to. Well, I do beg your pardon. Excuse me, do blame the beer. It's not got a voice that everyone can take to, but a great talent. Unlike Tom, I would say, I mean, I don't think Tom Waits has ever made a dud album in his life. Each one is different and they're all fantastic in their own way. Neil, not so much. He's made a few clunkers. And I'm really a fan of the early Neil Young, up until like the mid-80s, but some of his later stuff, I've got it all, but you know. But his output throughout the 70s and up until the mid-80s, absolutely amazing. My favourite album of his of all time is On the Beach. I've only got that on CD now, you know, because I didn't have it on vinyl or cassette, but that's my all-time favourite. Might play that in a later one. Thank you all for your comments on last night's video and your reaction to my suggestion that I may make a little series featuring some lesser well-known artists, or even more well-known artists but lesser known albums of theirs. Generally positive, I think they're overwhelmingly positive. We have to see how that goes, because I'm not wearing this hat because it's cold, because it is incredibly warm here, the middle of October, and I'm t-shirt and shorts. Unseasonably warm. Global warming, eh? But I'm wearing the hat so I can take it off in memory of my turntable, because I really think it is. It's on its last legs. It has taken several attempts to get it going tonight. I think the motor's probably just worn out. 40 years. As I said on the other video, these things aren't made to last 40 years, and I think it is coming to the end of its natural life. But I've enjoyed having it back for the past year and a half, and I'll sort myself out another one somehow. Because I just love that vinyl sound. I don't think CDs can replicate it, or digital downloads can replicate it. I did ask you from anyone had any suggestions for future video topics, and I've had a few, and in particular I had quite a lot from my good mate Bry. Bry's got a channel called Ishi Art. Bry's an occasional pipe smoker. He's not a big pipe smoker. I know he likes the roll-ups, but he's got a lovely channel. I first found him via Joshua in the Woods, who sadly I haven't seen anything from him for a very, very long time. I believe last time I remember he was having to give up the pipe, and sadly it seems he's given up making videos as well. Which is a shame, because he was a lovely bloke. A man really in tune with the world and his place in it. But that's how I found Bry. And Bry was a traveller, went around in Ishi, his like camper van, travelled around for a few years. Sadly for him, had to give it up for health reasons, but any road up. I'll put a link down below if I remember. But Bry made a few suggestions, which I will follow up. I can deal with a couple quickly here, which he said, is the drug gang still down the road? Yeah. Cheers. It's been well over a month now, and not only are they still there, but they've become increasingly brazen, because of course they're used to being there now and they know no one shot them, so they're even increasing in number and getting louder and louder. Whereas they've stayed fairly quiet before, apart from the of the whippets. But now they're down there and they create quite a racket, and I must be 60, 70, 80 metres away from them. But I can actually hear them in my living room on occasion. They're making that much noise, and there are houses closer than me. They don't care. And another one Bry asked me is how long have I had a beard? I first grew a beard 2004. So 14 years now. And the funny thing is, I mean, I'd started losing the hair on my head. A lot of men classically compensate for the loss of head hair by growing facial hair. But even so, I was still shaving my head, but I hadn't gone for the beard. But then a friend of ours had a 40th birthday party. She was born in 1964. And she had like an early 60s retro party that you were meant to go to, dressed in character. And I decided to go for the beatnik look, because we weren't quite into the hippie or mod stage then. So I went for the beatnik look and grew myself a goatee. Just the tash and the beard down there. And I never shaved it off. I kept it as the goatee, very short, very trimmed, for 8 years. When I split up with my wife, I had to take early retirement from work. I moved in here on my own, and I was still keeping the goatee going, and then it occurred to me, why are you bothering? You've got no job, you've got no partner, you've got no social life, why are you shaving? So I went for the full set, as they call it in the Navy. Another naval reference. Must be my father coming through and speaking for me. Still kept it very, very trimmed till it was 2 years ago. It was shortly before I started making videos. And I subbed to a channel at the time. It goes by the name of Gray Bailey, but he called himself the Sultan of Silver, and he had the full works. Great big ZZ top beard, and I thought, why not? Why not go for it? And that's when I started growing it out. And for the next year and a half, I just let it grow. Then about 6 months or so ago, I started trimming it. If I hadn't, it would be down to here by now. And I just decided I didn't want that look. I mean, I'm still a beard. This beard attracts looks around here, where I live. I've probably said this before, but where I live, you do not see white blokes with big full beards. A lot of Sikhs, a lot of Muslims, but white blokes generally clean shaven, so it attracts a bit of comment. But I went for it, and I'm glad I did. I couldn't imagine being without it now. I used to dye it to begin with because I was worried about this white, although I've still got these dark patches here and there. And if I let the hair grow on my head a bit, it is actually still quite dark because I was a very dark haired person. I've rambled on again. I was going to talk about other stuff. But anyway, so that's it. Drug gang's still there. That's how I grew the beard. That's why I've still got it. No intention of shaving it off. I think I've got this other stuff here that I was going to talk about, but it's 15 minutes. Just quickly then. I was going to talk about a spot by Tim, Wolf Valley Boy, on Facebook. Said he was doing a marathon of the Lord of the Rings films, watching the whole lot back to back. Now, Lord of the Rings was a huge favourite of mine. I might save this for tomorrow because there's so much to talk about. No, I can't do one till tomorrow. I can't do one till next week. My daughter's coming tomorrow. Anyway, cut a long story short, I'm going to read Lord of the Rings again. I haven't read it I used to read it every year, year after year after year after year. I can't remember how many times I read it. Apparently Christopher Lee, who played Saruman in the films, used to do the same. And so I've dug up my old single volume paperback. £1.75, brackets 35 shillings, because it was at the time we were transitioning from imperial to decimal currency. I'm going to read Lord of the Rings again. And just quick, these are my treasured possessions. 3 hardback volumes that my dad bought for me in 1970. Now you might wonder, you know, I've said about my dad before, we didn't have a close relationship, a very distant relationship, but with the Tommy album and these, here's my dad buying me presents. Well, the fact is my mum was a housewife, she had no independent income, she couldn't buy stuff, so all the Christmas presents and birthday presents came from my dad. But yeah, he bought me those. And now I better knock it on the head because it's getting too long. So at that, I will call a halt. I'm going to go off. I might even watch one of my DVDs. I think I was halfway through The Two Towers the other week when I fell asleep. I don't know how the time goes so quickly. I just want to keep on talking and talking. Just to say quickly, of course, it all started with The Hobbit, which I have not read for many. I mean, this one I didn't reread The Hobbit. I used to reread Lord of the Rings. I might do The Hobbit again, but it is a children's book. You have to make allowance for that. But just to say, I got in my mid-teens, 15, 16, 17, I got big into the whole fantasy genre. And you can't do fantasy without C.S. Lewis, The Complete Chronicles of Narnia. I love these. They're all illustrated by Pauline Baynes. The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, the whole lot. Maybe I'll reread them, who knows. Books, don't know where I'd have been without them. They've kept me sane most of my life. Now the disc has just come to an end, about to lift off, and so am I. Only remains for me to wish you a very, very happy rest of your weekend. I hope you have a good one, and I hope your week ahead is good and peaceful and safe in this ever increasingly crazy world. But I'm not going to start on that. So, live long and prosper. Ta-da all, see you soon.